afternoon, good evening to you all. Thank you very much for joining this call. We have quite a few colleagues on the line, so I won't go through individual introductions. I hope you'll understand, trying to make sure that we have enough time for the discussions. But I will go through the name of the offices that I see represented here on the call, and if I miss any, I ask you to please flag so that we keep an accurate account of who is on the line. So I see here represented the African Secretariat, Oceania, the Korean Office, East Asia Secretariat, the Southeast Asia Secretariat, Japan Office, Kaohsiung Capacity Center, and of course, World Secretariat. Did I miss any of the offices that are on the line? There's a name, for example, that I don't recognize, and I apologize. Michelle, with which office are you based? And you'll have to unmute yourself to be able to speak.
Hi, I'm
Hello.
Michele from the
Michele.
European Secretariat.
Oh,
Hi.
hello. Welcome. European
Hello.
Secretariat.
Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah,
wonderful.
we're here.
Thank you much.
You're welcome.
Great. Okay, in that case, I think we have everyone accounted for. That's great. And so let's get started. So, from my end, it's actually not on the slide. So I'm Ana Marques. I am Senior Officer for Low Carbon Cities at the Clay World Secretariat in Bonn. So once again, a very warm welcome to you all, and thank you very much for your interest and availability to join this web meeting. So this is the agenda that I would like to propose to you, and feel free to come forward to suggest additional topics if you'd like. But so this is the outline that I would propose. I would begin with an introduction to the Global 100% Renewable Energy Cities and Regions Network, because we have a few colleagues on the line in this web meeting that I believe are new to this topic, since we haven't had contact before. So I would propose that I would go over that quickly, so that we are all on the same level for the discussions. Then I would start giving you an overview of the recent and ongoing activities here from the World Secretariat's perspective. And then I would like to hand over to each one of the offices that wants to come in, so that you can also share on your activities regarding this this particular work stream. Then, as a next topic in the agenda, I would like to propose to you to discuss upcoming opportunities and some deadlines, some upcoming deadlines, including taking into account the COP23 that will take place here in Bonn, and for which we don't have that much more time now to prepare. So we need to really get busy on this, and of course give room to any other questions or issues that you might like to raise. So I would now like to give you a few moments if you want to come forward and suggest other topics. Please remember to unmute yourself if you want to speak, and you can do this at any time during this web meeting, okay? Feel free to do so. If there are no suggestions, let's go forward with the agenda. And so for the quick overview, as I was telling you, so the Global 100% Renewable Energy Cities and Regions Network is actually a thematic community. It's a community of practice that ICLE created for our members. It's inclusive, it's global, and its access to it is free of charge. The purpose of it is to enable knowledge exchange and policy dialogue, and it's open to all cities, towns, and regions that meet these two conditions, let's say. One, they either have a 100% renewable energy target in at least one sector, and this can be, for example, the electricity sector, or local government operations, or public transport. So I should say actually one sector or activity. Or they have a commitment to explore the 100% renewable energy pathway. So that's criteria one. Criteria number two, and the cities need to meet both, of course, is that the cities need to be interested in international cooperation, because this is indeed a global community of practice. So these are the conditions to join. These are at the bottom. You can see here the key contacts. Let's say the email address. I'm the one checking this email address, and the URL here. The first URL is to our webpage, Niclay's website, where we address this topic. And then at the bottom you see another URL. That's an external URL. So this network, the Cities and Regions Network, is Niclay's contribution to a global campaign, a global multi-stakeholder campaign, which is the Global 100% Renewable Energy Campaign, and this is the URL of that website. That's also the logo that is here below Niclay's logo. So, just to give you a quick overview still, these are the cities named here in this slide. These are the cities that have formally joined this thematic community. And what this means is that they've actually submitted a signed application form. It's a very simple form, basically to give us information about the interests and priorities of the cities. But still, this is a requirement so that we consider that they are indeed in the network. But then there are many other cities that in one way or another have engaged in activities which have been offered within the umbrella of this network. So this was the essential, but I want still to give you now, for all the colleagues, for those that were already familiar with this topic. So showcasing progress, you most likely have already heard of this. So this is very important that we really promote the good work that our cities are doing. So, for example, the city of Aspen reached 100% renewable electricity in 2015 already. This is a fairly small city, but also let's take a look, for example, at the city of Vecchio, who in 2015 was, Vecchio has about 90,000 inhabitants, and in 2015 they were almost 100% renewable energy in district heating. Australian Capital Territory, I believe last year in 2016, signed the contracts needed to ensure that they will be able to reach 100% renewable electricity by 2020. And the city of Vancouver approved their 100% renewable energy strategy, and Jeju province approved a master plan for achieving the carbon-free island by 2030, which includes 100% renewable electricity. So these are good examples from the network, and here you can actually see the progress of Vecchio. They've been doing very good progress in these last couple of decades, and this has been cemented. This has been based on the strong political commitments towards 100% renewable energy. But let me also highlight that it's not just cities in the network that are doing progress, that are really showing progress. Change is happening globally and at an incredible pace. So just to give you here a quick overview. So at the COP22 last year, the Climate Vulnerable Forum countries, which are over 40 countries, they have committed to meet 100% renewable energy production at domestic level as rapidly as possible. Denmark is also committed to reach 100% renewable energy by 2050. Sweden is exploring a target to be reached by 2040. Costa Rica, a country with about 4 million inhabitants, in 2016 ran on 100% renewable energy in 271 days. Overall, this is already the second year where they surpassed 98% of generation with renewable energy resources. And also an example from my home country, where they had over 100 hours of 100% renewable electricity on the grid. So this is to show you that change is happening at political level, but also at operational level on the ground. And this is really amazing. The progress that has been made in these last few years is amazing. Things are changing, and we really need to. ICLEI really needs to engage in this to keep up and stay on the top of the wave. So what have we been doing so far since the beginning of the network? So the initial invitations were sent out in 2015 in October in preparation for the COP, actually COP21. And then in 2016, we wanted to make sure that we developed at least one activity with each of the participant cities that formally joined the network. This year, the key focus of our work has been to develop resources, a lot also to try to secure funding, to secure financial resources, but also trying to build capacity and to establish partnerships that will enable us to continue to build that capacity internally, and so that we can also support our cities further in the long run. So for 2018, hopefully, if the ICI proposal, and by ICI, for those of you who are not familiar, I'm talking about the International Climate Initiative of the German government. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, but there was a proposal that was submitted, and hopefully, if it goes well, it will start in 2018. So this was a quick overview, and I wanted to open the floor to you all to ask you if you have questions or comments at this time. So the next point in the agenda will be regarding the recent and ongoing activities. But so far, this was just to give you an overview of the network, what we've been doing, how it was created, just to give the big picture to the colleagues that are new to this topic. Please remember to unmute yourselves if you need to speak, if you want to speak. Okay, so if no one wants to come in at this point, I will start giving you an overview of the actions that we've been doing here from the World Secretariat's ends, and then I will stop and invite each one of the offices to come in and share with us as well. So with us all, of course. Regarding activities that have been going on or were completed recently. Earlier this year, in January, in taking advantage of some of the other activities, some of the other projects and initiatives that we had going on, some invitations were sent for additional cities to join the network. Unfortunately, so far, I have to say we haven't been that successful. We didn't have capacity either to actually follow one by one. So if you have additional information from your end, please let me know, because this is basically what I have so far. So Oslo was one of the cities that indicated they were considering, but they haven't reached a decision yet, as far as I'm aware. At least I haven't been informed. Durban spontaneously contacted us, as far as I'm aware, and they indicated that they were interested. I will be looking forward to hear from the African Secretariat if there has been any further development on this. And then further, and this is related not to the invitations themselves, but actually an event that happened in Berlin earlier this year, where I had contact with the mayor of Quelimane, Mozambique, and with the deputy mayor of Wildpoortsried. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing this correctly, and I apologize. The deputy mayor there. So they both showed interested in hearing more. I didn't ask them if they would be interested to formally join a network or anything like that, but they did. They seemed interested in hearing more. Specifically, the second is not an ICLEI member, and he indicated he would be glad to have more news from the Clay network. So that was regarding, let's say, city outreach. So unfortunately, not that much that I can share there in terms of good news so far, but I look forward to hearing from you as well.
Anna, can I ask a question? This is Kobe here.
Hi, Kobe. Go ahead,
Hello.
please.
Okay. Anna, I just wanted to know about the network. Are we actually trying to actively grow the network? And if a city like Durban reaches out to you, is my staff included in those in that correspondence? And I'd like to know what exactly would we offer a city like Durban now if they join? What exactly does it mean to join this network? What do they get? What can they expect from the World Secretariat and from our office?
Mm-hmm. Thanks so much for that question, Kobe. So first, to address the Durban contact, this actually came through the African Secretariat. I believe it was Grace that received it, and she kindly forwarded it to me. And she was always, at least Grace, and I believe also Megan, but at least Grace was always copied in the communication. Yes, that's always a must. When we reach out, when we connect with the city, we always copy the corresponding regional office. That's for sure. Regarding the question of what the cities get from joining the network, so one thing that we can offer to all cities, even though we are still in the situation where we don't have dedicated funding to allocate to this, but one thing that we can offer to cities is that they can benefit from global activities such as webinars, that are on this topic, and this can come through us, and also with partnerships with the partners in the global 100% renewable energy campaign. They can also benefit from gaining visibility and also from peer learning in events, in global events and workshops, like for example at COP23. So this is something that we can always put on the table, and they can have access to the resources that exist, like for example guidance materials through the Solutions Gateway, where we already have some guidance on renewable energy. They can also gain access to one resource that I'll be telling you about during this web meeting, which are the 100% renewable energy building blocks guide and tool. So these generic elements, we can always say that they have access to. And this is for any city globally. For more specific activities at regional level, there I would need your input. If you see opportunities for synergies, if you see through another project that synergies could be generated, then definitely we could explore what we could do together. But for that, I would need input from the offices. I hope this answers, Kobe.
Yes, thank you. It does. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you as
I
well.
understand that it's, you know, because ICLEI's got a few different takes on networks, but I understand that this one is very much in line with some of the previous networks that I've been engaged in. So there isn't any specific financial or time contribution that we need to make to cities when they join. It basically, they basically come into a pool of knowledge sharing and opportunities on webinars and so on. So thank you.
That's correct. That is correct. Thank you very much as well, Kobe. Any other questions at this point? Questions or comments, of course. If not, I'll move forward with the activities listed here. So the second point, the second larger bullet here, the global platform was launched. What is this legal entity? So I've told you that this network, this thematic community on 100% renewable energy, is ICLEI's contribution to a multi-stakeholder campaign So that campaign was now made a legal entity, and this was so that the entity could gain access to funds as well. So that's what's reflected here. There was an event in May this year where the different partners came together. IRENA was there, the UNFCCC was there, and so on. So we took advantage of that moment to come together. As mentioned, the EKI proposal on 100% renewable energy was submitted. This is a detailed proposal, so maybe not all of you are familiar, but there was an initial selection stage last year, and the proposals that go through that are selected beyond that initial selection phase and are invited to submit a detailed proposal usually have a very, very good chance of actually getting the funding. And we have indeed submitted a detailed proposal already. So fingers crossed, hoping that this money will arrive. Another work group, let's say, in which we are engaging is with the Climate Action Network International, CAN International, and they are leading on a mega proposal. This links to what I mentioned before regarding the CVF countries, the climate vulnerable countries that I've mentioned, and their commitment to move to 100% renewable energy. These are fairly small countries, and so the idea of this proposal is to really support these countries in developing a roadmap to reach 100% renewable energy in their domestic production of energy. So it's amazing the different types of organizations that are coming together for this, but it is a very, very big endeavor. And to be honest, I need to reconnect. I was on vacations, and I need to reconnect to really gain to be able to give you an updated status. But the purpose here was to support the cities to develop both a technical roadmap and a political roadmap. And of course, for a political roadmap to be meaningful, it's necessary to have the stakeholder engagement and buy-in at the different levels. So this is a very interesting work stream, and we are hoping to be able to get funding for this for the overall network, but also for specific for the specific offices that have countries in the CVF group. Also, the last big bullet here in the slide, ICLEI joins IRENA's Coalition for Action. So IRENA is the International Renewable Energy Agency, and almost all countries, not all countries yet, but almost all countries are already members of IRENA. So this agency has a lot of weight and has a lot of quality in terms of technical capacity and so on. It's a wonderful partner to have. They actually have a lot of resources that we hope to use in the EKI project, the EKI 100% renewable energy project. So we're building this partnership. We're further consolidating, because this is a partnership that already exists for several years, but we are further consolidating it. And this year we joined the Coalition for Action, which is again a multi-stakeholder group, but it looks at the investment perspective. It looks at the business sector, and of course also to the government sector as investors in renewable energy, and what changes are needed to make the framework more favorable to those investments. So we're actively engaging in that, and I will tell you more about this, but in a couple of slides, because we also want your help in that, and we have here a good opportunity to influence the national policies, and we know, of course, that the national policies influence the scope of what local governments can do in terms of renewable energy. So please stay tuned for this. It's a good opportunity that we have here. I also wanted to give you an overview, and I tried to capture here in this slide the most important materials, let's say, that we have available. This is not comprehensive. We also have a couple other little things, but these are the main important, the most important, I would say. So earlier I was mentioning that we have what is called the 100% renewable energy building blocks guide and tool. So I'm not going to go into the detail, but I want to show you what we're talking about. So the global 100% renewable energy campaign at multi-stakeholder partnership in which we are partnering developed a guide. They have been for several years already working with cities, doing workshops to try to identify what is necessary for cities to go for a 100% renewable energy target and what is necessary to develop a strategy. So what they've done, they've distilled all this information. This document was drafted, was peer-reviewed. We contributed to it, of course. One of our biggest contributions were some good practice case studies. Throughout the document, you will see. Let me see if I can spot a couple. So, for example, in this page, a mini case study on Aspen, the city of Aspen, in our network. Chemnitz is also an eClaim member, and so we provided these little case studies. So this guide, in a way, is almost like a checklist. If a city wants to develop a strategy, they can go through and see, am I missing something important? Is there something I'm not yet exploring and that I could activate? And this has embedded a tool, and the tool is very simple. So let me show you here. So this is it. It's basically for each one of the areas. And that I didn't show you. Let me go back to give you the overview. I'm sorry about that for jumping around a little bit here, but let's go here to the index. So the building blocks, they consider these different items here as important elements to the development and implementation of a strategy for 100% renewable energy at community scale. And in this tool, what we have is we have the opportunity to capture within these big steps and with subcategories, let's say, to capture information about the city. What is more stimulating about this is that we can use this tool, which is very simple, but we can use this to facilitate the dialogue within the city, within the local government, with the staff, to explore what has already been done and what can be considered further. So this was just to give you an overview. We can use it. We contributed to it, as I said. The ownership is of the global campaign, but we as partners, and the tool is freely available on the internet. Actually, let me show you here in our web page, in the resources section. This is available. This is available for download. Here it is, both of them, both the guide and the tool. So that's one of the elements. Another element that I wanted to mention to you is like a brief fact sheet, a benefits info sheet. Why are cities setting 100% renewable energy targets? And this captures examples mostly from the network. There are a couple of cities that are not, but what we tried to do was to, as far as possible, get quantitative information, like arguments, like selling arguments, to persuade local governments that are interested in exploring this pathway. So this can be also a good resource. We also have a brochure with the city profiles of some of the cities in the network. Many of you already know this, so I won't go in depth. I just wanted to show the colleagues. It's a one-pager city profile for the colleagues that are new. One-pager city profile that shows basically an overview of what the city wants to do, what the city has done already, and to help stimulate cooperation between the cities in the network. Another element that we have are speaking points. This was developed to support some of the speakers that we've had already participating in some of the events on 100% renewable energy. So let me see. This is available for commenting in the Google Drive, and you can see here basically the outline. So if, for example, if we have a mayor and the mayor has been invited to speak at an event from IRENA, let's say, and we want to support the mayor by giving the mayor a good overview. So that was the purpose of this document. Here, the first section is on the benefits. The fact sheet that I mentioned before has a lot of overlap there, but also it covers the challenges and barriers that exist. It also lists what support is available for local governments and particularly what eClay is offering, and also to indicate, to pass this message that cities are already contributing to the transition to 100% renewable energy, and the Carbon Climate Registry gives us concrete elements there, concrete data, so we can claim it. So that's another element that you can use. Feel free to use it. We'll do some edits because the communications team reviewed this recently. So there will be an update coming soon, but feel free to use this and adjust as you need it. We also, of course, if you have comments, we very much welcome your comments to any of these materials. Comments and inputs, of course. If you have contributions from your cities that you would like to have included there, we'd be very glad to do so, of course. One other element that is important, please consider, also specifically because we have done some changes to this, is the energy performance sheet within the Carbon Climate Registry offline reporting sheet. So if you have any questions there, please let us know. But this is a good working instrument for us. We really encourage you to encourage your cities to report to data on this, because this then enables us to better support the city, to better guide the city on where they can put their effort in a more effective way, in a way that will produce more impact, more benefits with less effort. So it's also an important element. Please take a look and come back to us if you need support to understand it properly. We also have a few PowerPoint presentations. Oh, I'm sorry, this is not maximized. But so we have, of course, a general presentation on the network, and many of you have already asked these. I know you have it. If you do not have it, do not know where to get it, please connect with us. We'll send it to you. We also have a presentation on the 100% renewable energy building blocks, the guide and the tool that I was telling you about. Also glad to share it. And of course, we've also have a presentation on the Carbon Climate Registry, but specifically looking at this work stream of renewable energy. And just this week, we had a very good webinar jointly organized with REN21, and we can share with you those slides, the slides we used there. We've already had at least 3 cities that came back to us too, because they want to report in carbon after this. So please feel free to explore these, can give you arguments maybe to help motivate your cities to report there. Finally, the webpage that I was showing there, because it does have a lot of resources. So I want to stop here. Let me actually go up. I want to stop here because I don't want to go into too much depth without, again, giving you the opportunity to come in and ask questions, make comments if relevant. So please feel free. Please remember to unmute yourself. I see that a few more colleagues have joined in the meantime. So once again, welcome to all of you. Very glad that you were able to join. And so just to recall, and maybe for those of you who haven't heard the agenda, I'm giving you now an overview regarding the activities and resources that we have available at this time from the perspective of the World Secretariat, and very soon we'll open up the floor so that each one of the offices can come in and also share from your end what's been going on, what new contexts and requests you've had from your cities, and so on. Okay, I don't see anyone coming in. with burning questions. So I'm going to continue to the next slide, and what I'm going to show is just 2 or 3 slides here on this, and then open the floor again. So as part of the preparation of the detailed proposal that we submitted to the German government's EKI program, we had to put in some thought. We had to think a little bit more deeply on how we would take this forward, make this happen with our cities, and really supporting them in developing 100%, or I should say, in developing strategies towards 100% renewable energy. So as part of this, what I'm going to show you now is in this slide, some of the selection criteria that we've suggested to the regional offices that are engaging in this proposal. But I'm putting them here to share them with you because I think this can be helpful for all the offices, even if not engaged in this proposal, because we all know that all the offices have a lot of constraints. We don't have a lot of staff capacity. Time is very short, and so it's important that if we identify opportunities to work with the cities, that we try to select those cities that are most promising in this respect, that indeed can go further away, can make more progress, considering what we can offer them. So that's why I would ask you to please look at these criteria and consider if looking at this maybe and comparing with the cities you have in your region, if maybe a couple pop up that you'd like to approach on this specific topic. So here we go. Regarding these 2 initial criteria that we have here, these are the criteria we've mentioned before. So it's regarding the pre-existence of commitments, and also the interest in developing a vision and exploring a pathway towards 100% renewable energy. So these we've already covered before. Now, this is what's new and that we suggest on top of this. So one, overall, it would be good for the city to be committed to capacity building across the different political parties. And this is to try to ensure continuity, because we all know this is a long-term effort. So to transition to 100% renewable energy, it's very important to mobilize all the sectors in the community, all the sectors in society. And so trying to build capacity at all levels is important here. One very important element that will make life much easier for you is if the city has a high local renewable energy potential. Because if it does, then you will have local actors interested in exploring that because they see the potential economic viability of using those resources. So this can really make life easier for you. Look out for those. An alternative, if the city does not have high local renewable energy potential, is if the city, and this is true particularly for very large cities, the city has a high energy consumption, and if they are interested in cooperating with other local governments that could supply that renewable energy to meet the demand that they have, then this would also be interesting to have in our constellation. This would be very interesting to explore. Another suggestion is to explore interest in raising community awareness to the benefits of renewable energy. And we know there are many different types of benefits, from job creation to improving air quality in the city, energy security, etc. So if the local government is interested in this, that's also good, potentially a good city to work with. The city should have interest in reviewing policies, instruments, and procedures to create a favorable local framework for renewable energy generation and use at city scale. So it's important that the city is open to make change happen. It's not just about visibility, about winning the credits for saying we're connecting to this network. We really want cities that want to do change at local level, that really want to transition to 100% renewable energy. So also a factor to consider. And then from a very practical standpoint, if a city has data that will of course go a long way, because we cannot develop feasibility studies for a project if we don't have data on energy. So consider this as well. If you are aware that the city is already exploring renewable energy projects, that's also a big plus. So also good to identify potential cities there. And then also, of course, those general criteria that we consider, and most likely I don't need to tell you about. So, like for example, good relationship and the influence with other local governments and other levels of government. Like for example, interest in becoming an ICLE member, or uh, stability at national level. I didn't list them here because these are very general. So I listed here mostly those that in more directly relate to renewable energy. But so I'm sure that that you keep the others in mind as well. So before moving, I want to open the floor if you have comments or questions on this. I hope you find this useful. I'm in any case going to continue, and but if you think this is not for you, flag as well, if this is not of interest as well. So now moving to the overall approach within the ICI project, the ICI 100% renewable energy project. So this is of course simplified to try to give you an overview. That's all I'm trying to do here, just to give you an overview, so that you can also start to understand how we are proposing to contribute to catalyze this transition at local level. So one important element within the ICI project is to ensure that we have the national government on board. And I would say this is important in any country. So we begin by doing a national level stakeholder and situation analysis. And based on that, what we propose to do is to create a national project advisory group. And this should include the different levels of government, of course, but also the business sector, industry, and industry. I'm specifically referring to the energy industry, and also finance agencies and utilities, the energy utilities. And the purpose of this National Project Advisory Group is, of course, to contribute to vertical integration and cooperation, and to enable policy dialogue. And I've written here, closed door. This is a reminder for me, because I wanted to say this. In many countries, the different levels of government, so the public sector, depends to a significant extent on the revenues that come from the energy sector, by publicly owned utilities and so on, at the different levels throughout the chain. And this this transition to 100% renewable energy and anything that deals with energy efficiency can be perceived as a threat. So it's very important to start building relationships with these actors. And I indicate here closed door, because this is a type of thing you don't want to discuss with the public in the room. To really get a meaningful, honest discussion that can help to identify ways to move forward, you really need to have the trust and enable these different actors to really speak out loud what they're thinking and what is preventing them from moving closer, from moving further. So consider this, keep this in mind. Another important action is, and here I refer deep dive to the cities with whom we'll be working more closely. So the deep dive project city creates an implementation team, of course, for the project. Then we assess the local capacity building needs, so that we better know what type of training we need to provide to the staff, to the local government staff, for the development and implementation of the strategy towards 100% renewable energy. Then the Deep Dive City hosts a visioning workshop for its officials and staff. This is crucial. This is very important to align the political levels to get the engagement and buy-in from the political, the technical staff, the different departments, everybody on board, and believing that it is possible to reach 100% renewable energy. So that this is a very important step. Another step is then to reach out to the community. So then again, the city hosts another workshop to develop a shared vision with inputs from the stakeholders and the community, a shared vision for the community transition, for the community to transition to 100% RE. Then we build capacity of cities to develop and implement a strategy, and this can include very different aspects, including, of course, project prioritization, project development, and support in development of tendering documents, procedures, and so on. And this is the last slide I have on this. We also propose for each city to develop an initial status report that captures information about their renewable energy potential, about the energy consumption within the different sectors, about the potential for energy efficiency measures, etc. So to really gain good insight, good knowledge about the city, so that we can best advise. Then we also recommend, and here we are working, of course, with an external partner. It's actually, in this case, I can tell you the partner I'm planning to engage with is Fraunhofer IC, but there are other partners with whom we are also exploring partnerships. So, for example, within that mega proposal, we learned of other partners that are also in this area, and we definitely are also going to explore. But so the idea is to actually have a team, a specialized team, doing some modeling, using the data from that city to identify and to screen possible pathways for the transition. Based on this, then those elements, those quantitative elements, will inform a facilitated policy dialogue workshop to support the city in the development of the strategy towards 100% renewable energy. So at every point of the way, you can see that we are trying to promote the ownership of the city. It's the city. What we want is for the city to own this process. So we are just there to help the city. Then the deep dive city develops and reviews policies, administrative procedures, regulations, and other instruments to align with the renewable energy target and strategy. So this is then making it happen. So these are elements, these changes should in principle should be mapped out in the strategy, but then they need to really be implemented, and they may need more detail, even, for example, dedicated action plans and things like that. But this is, of course, then each city is a city, and each case is a case that needs to be analyzed. And of course, we very much encourage cities to monitor and report their performance and implementation progress in the Carbon Climate Registry. And that's a key tool so that we can really showcase the results, the success achieved, and that we can really disseminate globally. So I already spoke a lot, and I do apologize for that. But a lot has happened, and I was really keen to share with you all, because with all these contacts with the cities, I've been benefiting. It has been a privilege, really, because I've had the opportunity to contact with different cities, with different partners that are engaged in this, and it's really inspiring. And so that's why I wanted to share with you sort of like the current situation of thought here. And I wanted to hear also from you if this is in line with your expectations, and if you see gaps that need to fill in, and without which we cannot move forward. So now the floor is open, and I would ask each one of the offices to come in. Maybe let's start with the African Secretariat. As I was going through the list of participants, I wrote down here the list of offices in the call. But again, if I missed any of the offices, if in the meantime additional colleagues joined, please flag. and feel free to jump in at any time. Just unmute yourselves. So maybe let's start with the African Secretariat, if you'd like to come in, and on all the perspectives, for comments and questions on what I've shared so far, but also to share from your end if you want to report on activities from this last 6 months, and if you are already looking into additional activities where you'd like to cooperate with other offices.
Hello, Anna. This is Kirby again. I'll also give Megan and Belinda an opportunity to speak, and I'll be quick. But just to say that I think, you know, there are cities with that ambition in Africa, and they're not only just in South Africa. So I want to really see as part of a broader low carbon strategy for our ICLEI Africa office as we move forward. That 100% renewable is part of that ambition for those ambitious cities who actually want to commit to that, and you know, on the understanding that it is per sector that they commit. I think we can bring more closer to this space and to this platform that ICLEI offers. Having said that, I think a lot of our work as we move forward into the low carbon space is going to focus on low carbon development and the nexus approach, where we link energy, food, water, and nature-based solutions and those sorts of things, which all have, of course, low carbon benefits, but don't necessarily aspire to the 100% RE aspiration. Having said that, we're very interested to explore if you can maybe make the introductions again between us and IRENA, if we can explore what opportunities there are on the African continent. But certainly also I think there's interesting work that can be done in terms of looking at the revenue base for municipalities going into the future. And as I said, looking at the links through the Nexus approaches. But what you are doing is great, and I really want to commend you. It's a very ambitious program. It's very ambitious for a city to commit to something like this. And as we see, there are cities actually achieving that in the world, which is even more remarkable. And ICLEI needs to stay on top of that game. ICLEI needs to be at the forefront, driving that ambition with cities and making it easier for them. And I think you and the work that your team is doing in this space is certainly helping along. So I want to congratulate you. And my last point is just to say that we will be working quite closely with you now as we are developing the global biodiversity registry or nature-based registry that's going to sit as a sister registry to the CCR. And we already had a meeting this morning with Rian who's working for the World Secretariat on that, and I think things are moving fast. So there'll be that sort of engagement, and we need to see how the two can complement each other. But I'll leave it at that and just say thank you. This has been very useful. I'm glad I'm participating. Megan, Belinda?
Thank you very much, Kobe.
More to add, to say, Anna and the rest of the team, that we are following up with ETP with regards to their commitment, and we are currently doing quite a lot of work with the city of Tshwane, more linked to compacted mayors and One Planet Cities Challenge, but we'll also just touch base with them more on the 100% RE front. And also to say we have been promoting the network when we do energy presentations across Africa, and we'll continue to do that to try and garner more support, and are also quite excited about the prospects through the RKI project. So thanks for this call. It's been very useful in furthering our understanding.
Thank you so much. That's great.
That's it from us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you both very much. And I'll come back to you. I'll ask Irina about what's the best entry point, and I'll come back to you on that point. Thank you very much for all that. All noted. I would propose now to move to the Oceania. Bernie, would you like to come in?
Yeah, I'm here. Hope you can hear me. Look,
well.
apart from the two cities, well, one's a city-state, so they have a bit of an advantage. So they've prepared their reverse auction, and they've committed to and will achieve 100% renewable energy by the the date that was on the slide before. For others, there's always a choice between a carbon neutral or 100% renewable, but because the cities are under the jurisdiction of their various state governments, it's a little harder to take that as a target, although it's something in sectors that they've been looking at. At this stage, let's say in Australia at least, there's been a bit more focus on the Global Covenant of Mayors and getting started in terms of inventories at this stage. Targets are always aspirational. The difficulty with measuring achievement of 100% renewable energy, unless it's on your own roof, it's going to be in the national grid, the electricity grid. Everyone benefits from more renewable capacity, so it's not quite as cut and dried as to how you can measure or claim 100% renewable energy in that context. In the Pacific Islands, as you've seen, some of the most vulnerable have got very ambitious targets, but they're very dependent upon donors, funders, the climate funds to actually do anything there. But they are developing pathways or roadmaps to try and achieve those outcomes. So a little bit of interest at this stage, but I think much more of a focus on the Global Covenant of Mayors to begin with, and this will come in as one of their target setting exercises. So that's it for me.
Thank you very much, Bernie. I understand. Very good. Hannah, I cannot hear you. You need to unmute yourself. I apologize. Let me just explain to all of you why I skipped the alphabetic order. This was just at the beginning of the call. I was writing down by hand what offices were in the call, and at that time, this was the next in line. We'll give all the offices a chance. Please do not worry. Hannah, would you like to come in to comment for the Korea office? Maybe Hannah is not available at this time, actually. So I would propose to move to the East Asia Secretariat. And I know that we have at least Yvonne on the line.
Hello, this is East Secretariat.
Hello, hello, welcome, Yvonne. I think this is the first time we are speaking.
Yes, exactly. And thank you for your presentation. And I think it's really ambitious. But for now, because at this moment, our focus is more on Chinese cities. And as you may know, 100% renewable energy may be too ambitious for these cities. But you really raised a good point about the sectors. Maybe at this moment, we are trying to look at some certain sectors. For some cities, maybe there are more opportunities there.
Yes, Yvonne, I would like to say that, of course, the name of the network is 100% renewable energy. If it is found that, for example, in China, it's more convenient to use other type of wording, like, for example, clean energy, that is something feel free to explore and still use the resources that the 100% RE network puts at your disposal. Keep us posted. I'm very, very curious to learn more about any new developments, major developments that happen in your region. So please let us know. Please flag if you see any big opportunities.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much as well. So I would now propose to move to Southeast Asia, and I see we have several colleagues on the line from there. So I'll let you decide who wants to come in.
Okay, so I'll just go in first. So for the Southeast Asia Secretariat, I would just like to share an update that we have the proposal that we have submitted to the EU on the ASEP program. We applied for the LOC 4, which is the promotion of excellence, learning, and awareness on sustainable energy for all and SDG 7. So the proposal was led by Ateneo de Manila University, and we were one of the co-applicants. So that has been accepted just recently, and essentially it talks about establishing a center of excellence for renewable energy, energy access, and energy efficiency for cities in the Philippines. So this was the proposal that we have actually sought your comments before and insights before, and we have included your suggestions to also cite Solutions Gateway and the 100% RE network. So I will be sharing to you the full proposal that we have submitted, and hopefully, this call has been really useful for us to identify what resources that can be used as we go on to the implementation phase. So yeah, we'll be sharing the copy of the proposal with you, and hopefully we can look into how we can work together, especially on the network and the resources that the 100% RE network can offer in the implementation.
That's great, Pam. Congratulations. That's wonderful. We look forward to those elements and to explore how we can help you, how we can cooperate. That's wonderful.
So maybe Marvin can add other, especially on the CAN proposal.
Sorry, I didn't catch that. Could you repeat, please?
I was just asking Marvin if he can also add other updates from other engagements on same.
Right. Well, in terms of the ASAP proposal, I think it's very interesting in terms of possible synergies with 100% RE, because some of the goals under the ASAP proposals would include development of local energy roadmaps for at least 5 Philippine cities, capacity building, knowledge management, in terms of access to practical, innovative practices, tools on renewable energy, among others. Aside from the ASAP proposal, we're actually also rolling out technical assistance on energy efficiency to 2 Philippine cities. One is under the CESC Networks Center for Clean Energy Solutions Network, in partnership with the ICLE US office. So under this technical assistance, we're providing support in the development of a local energy efficiency and conservation roadmap for 1 Philippine city, which is Baguio City. And the other technical assistance is with Puerto Princesa, and we're also developing a local energy efficiency and conservation roadmap, this time for Puerto Princesa, and in partnership with Climate Action Network. So aside from the technical output, we're also doing some campaign on renewable energy in partnership with Climate Action Network.
Thank you very much, Marvin. That's also very good to hear. I apologize. I have to ask you, maybe you mentioned and I didn't catch it, regarding the technical assistance in cooperation also with the ICLE USA and the Clean Energy Solutions Center. I didn't catch what is the topic under which assistance is being provided to the 2 cities you mentioned, to Baguio City and Puerto Princesa. Could you please?
We're actually providing support in the development of a local energy efficiency and conservation roadmap for two Philippines, Puerto Princesa, Baguio, and actually one more city, Quezon City. But we've transferred the task of actually developing this to another organization, MCG. So MCG, still within the CESC, is developing this roadmap for Quezon City. But basically, upon like scoping with these Philippine cities, there was really a request from them to provide technical assistance in terms of developing this energy efficiency roadmap. And I think that's very interesting because aside from RE, there's also some technical output that we can explore. And from our end, we've also been trying to explore tools and softwares that we can use to be able to develop this energy efficiency roadmaps. And perhaps we can also get some recommendations from your team with regard to the appropriate tools and softwares to employ for these kinds of initiatives.
Yes, absolutely. I would very much. I would like very much if you could share the draft local energy efficiency roadmaps, and would be glad to take a look and to comment. Also, thank you for the suggestion regarding the recently approved EU project regarding also the possible cooperation there regarding the clean energy roadmaps. I think that's a great idea, and we should think a little further how we could, in a way, formalize here a connection so that we could also claim from this end that these activities are also being offered as part of the 100% RE Cities and Regions network through your office. I think that would be nice if we could we could add that. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. That was great. Is there? I think there's still another colleague from your office there. Is that correct? Is that it, or would another colleague still from Southeast Asia like to come in? Is Gina online? If you tell me that this is it, we'll move forward. Hello, Gina.
Hi, nice to talk to you again.
Likewise. Very nice to hear you. Gina, would you like to come in on this?
Yes. Well, firstly, I'm sorry that I joined quite late because of some technical problem. But as far as I follow your presentation, I can say that regarding this 100% renewable energy project, I happened to get a chance to talk with some people in the Ministry of Public Works a couple of days ago. I was meeting them for another project actually, but we were also mentioning about this project. I think my comments will be pretty much like Yvonne, if I'm not mistaken, from the East Asia office, that the name of the project is really ambitious for them, and it's really scared them, as in they are being alert and cautious that with this project we are trying to push them to actually implement 100% renewable energy in Indonesia, disregarding our economic development. So that was the issue. But then we also explained them already that even though the title is like 100% RE, we are pretty much just trying to encourage the Indonesia to move forward renewable energy. That it doesn't have to be 100%. It's just like encouraging them to put more concern on renewable energy.
Thank you, Gina. I understand that the context is very difficult in Indonesia. I understand, especially countries that explore fossil fuels. The context is difficult. But I would like to once again remind you of these suggested criteria in this slide. So maybe instead of thinking in all the cities with whom you have contact in Indonesia, no, go through a more targeted way. See if there are cities that indeed are very rich in a specific renewable energy potential from which they could really benefit. and maybe that's your entry door. Just focus on one or two, but not all the cities, because you would just spread yourself through too thin. It would not be possible to actually get something concrete out of it. Maybe my suggestion would be that try to focus on such a city, even on a city maybe that is already starting to explore a project, and maybe they need support, technical support, to be able to move further, and maybe there we could come in to provide capacity building or awareness raising regarding stakeholder mobilization, etc. But yes, try. It's better to start with smaller steps, even if it's just in the local government activities. I don't know, a specific activity, but try. I would still like to try to encourage you to have the 100% renewable energy as far as possible. Not necessarily for the community scale, as I was saying, but for a specific activity at least, to try to start bringing in that into the speech of the people and into the minds of the people, so that we can try to initiate this transformation. Because yes, of course, it is huge. I know it is very ambitious. Of course, it is, but someone needs to lead it, and we are in a good position to do so. So, and we are very creative, and we can do a lot of things. So, try to see where you can be more effective. That would be my suggestion, to really try to focus, find a way in. Okay, thank you very much to Southeast Asia team as well. So I would now propose to move to the Japan office.
Hi Anna, this is Takashi speaking.
Hello Takashi, a pleasure to hear you once again.
Yep, and thanks for giving us an opportunity. We've been, keeping the track of the development of this, 100% renewable network on cities and regions, and I really would like to congratulate you and your team, which took like 2-3 years to get into this shape, and it is really good to learn. Like, there's a lot of achievements already made by the member cities, and those are available in some case studies or the profile sheets. So that we are really happy about it. Then having said that, like, I'd like to share some information about the situation in Japan. Perhaps most of you already know that we will have the local renewables conference 2017 about a week later in Nagano, Japan. And together with we are working on this together with Anna, of course, as well as Wolfgang's office, the European Secretariat, and there will be a lot of stakeholders coming for this particular conference. But amongst others, we are expecting 8 local leaders from Japanese local governments come together and would have a very high-level dialogue, which is so-called the Local Leaders Summit on the themes entitled "Towards 100 Renewable Energy Cities and Regions." Of course, there's a lot of challenges still ahead, but it is a good moment for Japanese 8 Japanese leaders come, 8 Japanese local leaders to come to Nagano and have such kind of round table, and they expecting to have a small declaration that they will work together to take strong steps towards the 100 renewable. So that we are very much excited about it. Whether they would organize some solid network after this meeting or not, that's still under discussion. And from my point of view, if such kind of network in Japan established based on these 8 local leaders gathering, that would be great. As well as if some of them would join the global platform on the 100 renewable cities and regions that World Secretariat is running, that would be excellent. So we are in the middle of encouraging the local governments sharing the 100% renewable visions. Of course, there's a lot of barriers, not particularly purely technically, but more on the regulations and the other aspects. So that together with another stakeholders, JO would like to address those issues one by one together with all these local leaders. That's about it. Can anyone from my office add any other information? Masumi, Yoko? Okay, that's it. Thank you, Anna, and all.
Thank you very much, Takashi. I will definitely follow up with you by email regarding the network, the national network, and how this can connect with the global network. Thank you very much for this reminder as well. Go
One more
ahead.
information. Right. I believe that your platform will convene some meeting on the 9th of November during COP23, right?
Yes, the global platform. And we are partners to that event, yes.
That's right. And what I've heard from the Ministry of the Environment was that they budgeted to send about 5 local governments who's been working on this 100% and join that platform meeting, so that there's a pretty good chance that you will have 5 local governments joining your events there.
Oh, thank you very much. Oh, that's very good to know. Wonderful. Would you be able to share the details with me at this time, or is it too soon for now? But would you be interested, for example, in us trying to get at least one speaking slot so that at least one of these mayors could speak, or would you?
No. No mayors is probably traveling this time, so that those are all the working level, so that they would have a chance to be exposed to the ones advanced cities and regions.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, we don't know the names, and they haven't even chosen the cities yet. But likely they would be likely to come out from the 8 local governments gathering. That's my guess. But anyway, I'll keep my eyes on the development and share all the information with you. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Just a quick question. These would be funded by the Japanese government, the national Japanese government. The trip to this event on the 9th of November.
That part, yes. You may recall Kotaro, who's now in Japanese embassy in Berlin, right?
Yes.
He's been working on this kind of arrangement, so that the Ministry of the Environment of Japan is covering those local governments' traveling costs.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's stay in touch. Wonderful. That's very good to hear. I still would like to make one comment, because I thought it was very interesting what you said regarding the fact that in Japan the barriers are not so much technical in nature, but rather have to do with the regulatory aspects. I absolutely understand what you're saying, and this is very much the case in many countries, I would say. So we need to continue this work of advocacy to help change the policy frameworks, to help change the rules of the game, so that that the renewable energy can move forward. So thank you so much. Okay, and best of luck for your upcoming conference. So with this, I would like to move then to Kaohsiung Capacity Center. And I let you decide who would come in, because I also see several colleagues on the line.
Hello, Anna, could you hear me?
Yes, very well. Go ahead, please.
Hi, I'm Zure. I am, so they are like 2 other colleagues of mine just joined today's talk. They are like Yishen and Xinghui, and they might chip in if there's anything I missed out later in the talk. So yeah, thank you for your presentation. And as you may be aware that we have quite a deep dive city, it's called Pingdong. And they kind of, I think like we've been in quite close communication regarding a workshop that's going to be held in Pingdong to kind of demonstrate and also to showcase Pingdong's 100% renewable energy, and also pay my empathy to the Southeast Asian office and the East Asia office, as the 100% is really daunting as well. So the Pingdong county government was thinking about like changing the name of the project to actually ditch the 100% because that was a bit too ambitious for them. But anyhow, they are still moving on and they are still hanging there to promote the 100% energy. And so hopefully by the time during the Eco-Mobility Festival, we'll have a workshop for Pingdong, and also we managed to attract the attention from the national level from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, their international cooperation and development funds will be teaming up with KCC to organize the event for countries that actually have diplomatic ties with us, and to provide trainings to the technical officers and also officers at a higher level, which will be joined by Pingdong. So we hope that at the end of the workshop we'll be able to share some of the kind of conclusions we have from the workshop, and we're thinking about possibly publishing something along with ECLAE World Secretariat and also with the 100% renewable energy team. It's either probably English or Chinese. Yeah, so that's all from us. We are cracking on, working on the renewable energy workshop, and hopefully we'll see you soon in October during the Eco-Mobility Festival period.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes, to be honest, I'm really looking forward to this workshop. I really think it can be wonderful to actually test some of the ideas and some of the resources that we have now in mind. One thing that I have to be absolutely clear about is that if Pingdong wants to have something published with the Global 100% RE campaign, then those materials need to be very clearly on 100% RE and not just generically speaking clean energy. Yeah. So that's something that's a must.
Sorry, can I on top of that? Sorry.
Sure, go ahead. Yeah,
sorry. So I think because you just mentioned the community level of 100% renewable energy, and from what we gather from Pingdong government is that they might be interested in implementing the community scale of 100% renewable energy if this like county scale doesn't seem to be achievable or attend. It's kind of like So I think that's another opportunity to probably to provide another alternative to Pingdong County, to have a kind of quite tangible 100% renewable energy in a more like community scale environment. That would probably be the alternative as well.
Okay, very good to hear. Wonderful. Yes, let's continue to connect. Okay, thank you very much for this. We're almost, as far as I could catch, there's only one additional office in the call, which is European Secretariat. I would now invite you to come in. Hello. Go ahead, please.
Hello, all. I'm Michele. The European context is very rich of initiatives, and I think that the 100% initiative can be a big success, but we must embed it into already active processes and already informal initiatives that cities in different national contexts are bringing along. One of the first elements that came into my mind when we were talking about that is that, for instance, the smart city calls of the European Commission open the ground to front runners and forward cities into the smart city concepts. Two, that so we could try to not to embed, but to take advantage of such a process to introduce this new initiative into success and into formal commitment. European cities, as a general fact, have committed a lot in previous years to the Covenant of Mayors initiative, and now with the new global Covenant of Mayors are a little hesitant into taking action, especially into transforming their inventories and in general data gathering and approving approach into a much more robust approach. I think that 100% initiative can fill this gap and guide city into also that aspect. So we're keen of cooperating into that, being aware that we have hundreds and hundreds of cities are already developing such strategies at differentiated levels and also at differentiated regulatory frameworks, but we can find a good space to create a group that moves toward that goal. Hello?
I apologize. I had muted myself. Thank you very much, Michele. I agree with you that it is important to embed this into already existing processes, and earlier Colby also made reference to that as well. So definitely I would support that. Of course, in Europe, we already have quite a few cities, even if not as ICLEI members, we have already quite a few cities that have achieved 100% renewable energy electricity, either at electricity or in heating. So I would very much love to have the continued engagement of the European Secretariat in this, because we really need to get those cities into our network. It would be wonderful to really be able to have them as advocates, as ambassadors. This is not right, the pronunciation. Ambassadors. Thank you.
You're right.
My English was failing me.
Not good at all.
But really, they can be such a wonderful resource. Earlier, Takashi was giving me congratulations. I don't deserve all the congratulations he was giving me, because the work that the cities have done themselves. And of course, where the ICLEI offices engage, of course, the recognition also needs to be given. And it would be wonderful, specifically in the European region, if we could grow our network further, so that we could bring these wonderful cases, these wonderful leaders into this network, because the examples are real. We need to share the information so that people begin to, in a wider scale, because some already know that this is happening, but in a wider scale, begin to realize that this change is possible. And then we'll have more people contributing to it, and it will accelerate. So thank you very much for that, and I look forward to hearing more from the European Secretariat. If we can support you in upcoming events or efforts, let us know. We'll be glad to engage.
Thank you.
So thank you all very much for this. I would like to move to the next section, and I apologize regarding the timekeeping, we're a little bit behind already. I hope you can still stay with us for a few more minutes, but at least a couple of slides to share with you on this, because indeed we are very close to COP23. In Bonn, and so Takashi had already asked about this initial event that is listed here on the 9th of November. This is the local dimension of the NDCs. It's led by the Global 100% Renewable Energy Platform, with funding from the German government here. And this is still an invitation that I want to do to you. The campaign has asked us, the global campaign, the platform has asked us if we would like to recommend a mayor, preferably from the global south, and preferably a lady that is reporting their targets and actions in the Carbon Climate Registry. And actually this, if we have a good city that is reporting, and we need to motivate them, for example, to update their report, this is actually a good excuse, let's say, a good candy to give them, a good reward, because they could gain visibility in this international event here at COP23. I should say that this is in an area that is open, so no accreditation is necessary. So that's one that I wanted to share with you. Another is on the 11th of November, the visioning of the Inconvenient sequel. I don't know if you are, I assume that you are familiar with a movie that was produced a few years ago with Al Gore speaking and really leading regarding this issue of climate change. And a sequel has now been developed, and the promoter has contacted us, and jointly we are going to host a visioning with a panel discussion, a panel of mayors, and we want to bring in mayors that have already committed to 100% renewable energy, but of course also mayors that might be close, might be considering taking such a commitment, and where such a platform could be a motivation, an added motivation to go further and maybe even announce. That would be wonderful if we could have an announcement there. Wow. But so be aware also of this. There's limited capacity for this. About 100 mayors are expected. I say mayors, but heads of government from local and subnational government. You understand what I mean? And this visioning will be held at the beginning of the local leaders climate summit. So this will be back to back with the reception, with the initial reception on the 11th of November. So let us know here also if you have specific recommendations. On the 12th of November, for information, this is when IRENA will host its Renewable Energy Day at the COP. It's a very busy day, the 12th of November, I know. But in any case, if you would like to recommend one mayor, perhaps from your region, please let us know. There is an opportunity here. They've invited us to make suggestions, of course, because we have other events, including the summit, the local leader summit going on. This is tricky to manage, but if you have a specific recommendation, let us know. On the same day, yes.
Sorry to interrupt like this. This is Kobe here, but we've been looking for a good opportunity for the mayor of Tshwane to be featured somewhere in the COP program. And maybe this is the opportunity, because it is also, I think, one of our only 100% RE cities. So if you can already just flag the mayor of Tshwane for that event, that would be fantastic.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Will do, Kobe. If there are any other ideas, please feel free to come up, everyone. There's also another event on the 12th, the second Global Renewable Energy Forum, where possibly Mayor Park will be speaking. So very busy day indeed. But the idea would be to use these opportunities to hopefully, even this would be wonderful if we could announce new commitments or achievements that really deserve to be profiled here. And this is, of course, an opportunity to try to get press coverage to this. So please keep it in your mind and share any ideas, any thoughts with us. Finally, I would like to really invite your engagement also in these tasks here. One is to urge your cities to report in the Carbon Climate Registry. Please report any renewable energy related targets, even if they are not 100% renewable energy. Please report any renewable energy related actions, and these can be of different natures: policies, regulatory, financial mechanisms, you name it. If the actions are relevant, please report them. The deadline, as usual, it's the 30th of September, so that the data can be processed and can be considered for the Carbon Climate Registry report that we will then profile at the COP. This same data will also inform the elements that we provide to REN 21. So every year, and now we are beginning the efforts to develop the report for 2018, the REN 21 Global Renewables Global Status Report 2018. So this data will also inform that report. It's a huge and widely recognized publication with inputs from many experts worldwide. This is also a good place to make sure that our cities are recognized. Another opportunity, and this comes through Irina's Coalition for Action that I've mentioned earlier. So we are part of the Community Energy Working Group, let's say, and to support a gathering of information on this, to really consolidate, we've developed a simple survey for local governments, a survey for local governments, to give them the opportunity to provide inputs to national government policy recommendations. So these policy recommendations will be included in a white paper that Irina will present to its member countries in its General Assembly in January 2018. So the survey is very brief, and it's available. I've shared this through email. It's available also on the 100% Renewable Energy webpage in ICLEI's website, but I'll be glad to share. I can even paste it here in the chat function if you are not sure where to get it. But I would really encourage you to engage in disseminating this to your cities, specifically those cities that are interested in this topic. And what is meant by community energy? It refers to investments either by the local government or other local stakeholders, citizens or local companies, investing in renewable energy. That's what we're referring to when we talk about community energy. So if you are aware of cities that want to provide inputs here, that want to influence what Irina is going to share with the national governments, please share with them this link. Finally, there was an email I sent earlier on where I invited you to share on your capacity building interests, because it's crucial that we really help build capacity both internally and with the cities, so that this transition can happen. So there's a Google Sheet where you can provide your inputs, both to give training and to receive training. And what I'm thinking of, because we are in a situation of no funding, is to go through web meetings and webinars like this. But of course, if in the future we have face-to-face opportunities, we'll take advantage. Like, for example, for the Clay World Congress, we can already start to outline a few opportunities. So please make sure to list. I will share all these links with you after the call. Let's do that. Also, if you identify fundraising opportunities, and we already had this wonderful news from Southeast Asia regarding a proposal that they've an opportunity that they've identified. They engaged in the consortium, and the project proposal was approved. These were wonderful news. Again, if you are aware of opportunities from your region, keep us in mind as well. If perhaps we could engage as partners to give us even if a small role, everything, all help is very welcome. So this is what I had to share with you regarding upcoming opportunities. Here's my email address as well. And again, my apologies for going over the time. I hope it was worthwhile for all of you. And I would like to open one last time if there are any questions or comments that could help all the colleagues still. Oh, I apologize. I skipped Korea. I apologize, Hannah. I see your comment now. And please feel free to come in if you like.
Hello.
Hello, Hannah.
Hey, how are you?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm fine. I will just make it very short because time is quite.
It's quite late for you. I realize. I'm sorry for keeping you awake for so long, up to late at work for so long.
No, it's okay. Just to update all of you that Korea national government. Yeah, I already typed it in the box.
Okay.
As it says that Korea national government organized the local government renewable energy network last week. So we plan to jump in and connect it with this network and global network, including 100% renewable energy cities and regions network. So communication is already initiated, and next week we are going to meet national government and Seoul, the city of Seoul as well. So anything comes clear that I'm going to share it with you more later on. That's the most current update I could give you at the moment.
Okay, thank you very much, Hannah. Yes, please keep us posted regarding this concept and let us know how we can help as well for the Korea office to strengthen its position here. Okay,
can I jump in? Sorry, Hannah
yes,
and
go
Anna.
ahead.
Yeah, that's great. And Hannah, please, send us all the, relevant information so that we could introduce such kind of, development in the region in Nagano conference. And if you have a time next week, you can just, fly to Japan and join the, conference as well. Okay, that's all from my side.
Thank you very much. Okay. Are there any other questions or comments here? If not, thank you all very much once again. Please follow up by email as necessary, and it was great. It was wonderful really to hear from all of you, and we'll continue to share more as possible and continue to profile the good work that's being done globally, and we look forward to hearing more from your cities and from your work. So thank you very much. Have a good evening, good afternoon, good morning to you all. Bye-bye.